Since the start of COVID, we've seen the effects nationwide. Now, as lingering effects of COVID are wearing out, how is Nebraska faring with the war in Russia and Ukraine and inflation hitting all-time highs since 1982? How will we see this play out here in Omaha? To answer these questions, we're going to take a look at some of the local news and check out the housing inventory and levels for the month of February. Now, we've done stuff like this on the channel before, as well as property tours, home purchasing tips, and national real estate updates, so be sure to check out and subscribe if you're into that kind of stuff. So let's start off with gas prices. Gas prices are stinging less in Nebraska for now, is what this article in the Omaha World Herald is indicating. It talks about here the light colored is the average gasoline price around $3.82, all the way up to $4 to $5.69 in the dark areas. And you see most of those on the West Coast and some on the East Coast. Now, a driving factor across this is that the average gas price is around $4.17. Now, Nebraska had the 6th lowest price in the country as of Thursday afternoon, when the average was at around $3.91, with on Thursday prices rose up to $4.31 in the nation. Oil prices have surged to a 14-year high, with much of the nation over $4 a gallon. Gas prices vary throughout the country on a large part to two reasons: access to oil refineries and taxes. Much of the West Coast is blocked by the Rocky Mountains, which increase the cost of access. Taxes also play a role. When you take a look at California and their higher gas prices, those can be attributed to higher taxes to the state carbon management program. Now, I came across this article in the World Herald that the IRS hopes to hire over 10,000 employees to ease the massive backlog. Now, there's nothing of note in there, but it reminded me that I want to make sure I point out three things in regards to taxes and the insurance you pay on a house. Number one, make sure you talk to your bank and ask for your bank statement so you can submit that for taxes. Number two, the letter you got in the mail that showed your property taxes back in December or January that looked like a bill but really wasn't, that is actually the new assessed value, I should say, that the Douglas County or Sarpy County is giving you. Now, that leads us right into the third one, and that is, if you don't like that assessment, you can actually oppose and object to that assessment. However, you're only able to do that in the month of June, so keep an eye out on that. In my last video, I shared a little bit about HomeBot, and honestly, the response was amazing. We share this information and this tool with no obligation, and it provides a ton of helpful tools, information, suggestions about your home and the equity you may have in it, tips to save money, refinancing scenarios, and allows you to track your equity. So if you want to know more about HomeBot, check out the link down in the description. Now, this article right here, I really want to highlight because it's directly affecting rental rates and rental values and people that may be in a hardship due to the pandemic. It talks about here that the rental aid vote looks likely that they think that it's actually going to pass. So what this is a bill, legislative bill 1073, where they're basically trying to force the hand of the governor to apply for rental assistance of $120 million. Now, the governor is actually opposed to that. He doesn't want to do it. Ricketts noted here, as I note right here, is that there still is $30 million of unused federal funding from the first round of emergency rental assistance program. Ricketts went on to comment that $158 million were allocated for rural areas and about $42 million for Douglas and Lancaster counties. So the question at hand is, do we need this extra aid? Hansen said that the first round of funds were underutilized because of the lack of promotion and a cumbersome application system. At the same time, Senator John Lau said, "We need to get back to work. We don't need these extra government handouts constantly." Then you have Omaha Senator Terrell McKinley disagree. A significant number of Nebraskans have faced economic hardships over the last 2 years. So here is the unemployment statistics since the pandemic and what it looks like. Actually, this chart here starts back in January of 2019 and goes all the way to October of 2021. And as you can see here, this is the labor participation force. And before the pandemic, it was up here. We had the pandemic happen, and I would say we're only halfway back up to pre-pandemic levels for the labor force participation rate. But this is very interesting as we go on here. The employment population ratio, if we look at pre-pandemic, was just above 68. We see this gigantic drop and then an immediate rebound right here, almost back to pre-pandemic levels for employment. The labor force, again, here's another example saying the exact same thing. We see this rise in employment and then this big crash due to the pandemic, and we see this steady climb back to pre-pandemic levels back in October of 2021. And we look at employment here, employment levels are actually higher than they were pre-pandemic. And unemployment, this is the graph we really want to look at, is pre-pandemic levels. We were looking right around, it looks about 30,000 of people unemployed, and we see this giant spike up to 80,000 in the state of Nebraska, and then this slow decline back down. And right now, we are at record lows for unemployment. Now, if we look at the unemployment rate, it's saying the exact same thing. We're roughly around 3% unemployment, the spike to over 8%, and then an immediate drop back down to below 3% unemployment rate. So if we're going to answer this question on do we need this extra aid, when we look at the graphs, we're seeing record low unemployment, yet we have people saying that people are still suffering due to the pandemic. In addition to that, we still have $30 million of aid available to people that still need that assistance. So if we're at record lows, we still have $30 million. Is that $120 million necessary for Nebraskans? Or is it going to prevent us from getting workers back into the workforce so we can get the economy of Nebraska back and running again? Omaha, Nebraska's real estate market has been booming since the pandemic. With record low inventory, skyrocketing prices, we've seen the market closed price increase by 19.5% since the pandemic and over 107% in the last 20 years. You can check out that video right here if you want to know more about that. All right, so here we are with the year-over-year numbers for the month of February when we look at the median closed price for homes. Back in 2021 of February, we see 248,000 and it's jumped up to about 262,000. That is an increase of 5.6%. Now, a reason why this is really low, in my opinion, is we're still potentially and still having appraisal issues at the beginning of the year. I know I have several deals that are having appraisal issues simply because there's not enough data and not enough inventory to show that prices have increased. So as we move into March, April, and May, I expect this number to increase. Taking a look at new listings for the month of February, we can see that really almost no change. You've heard probably over and over the record low of inventory, people saying we need homes. I've said that, but we've actually have 18 additional homes for the month of February from the previous year. That's a 1.8% increase than the prior February of 2021. Now, it's yet to know what exactly is going to happen since Russia and Ukraine are at war together. Is this going to hurt us? Is this going to help us? It depends on your perspective. It may help us by increasing the number of homes that we have because fewer buyers are buying, but it also may restrict sellers from wanting to sell their home because they don't know what's going to happen. Now here we have the median price per square foot for the month of February, and this really shows you where we were just a year ago. Throughout the Douglas and Sarpy County, about $167 a square foot, and from there it's increased 14.4% to $191 a square foot. Now this includes all listings within Sarpy and Douglas County. However, if we take a look, here is a graph that breaks down new construction and existing homes. And again, you can see the huge difference from just from just a year ago. New construction has increased 35% since February of 2021, while existing homes increased price per square foot by 14.5% from just a year ago. Now, if you're wondering why Nebraska has fared so well with lower gas prices and lower unemployment, I made this video right here answering those questions. The focus of the video is about investing in Omaha. Whether it's a rental property that you own or your own personal property, you'll be sure to find the answers to your question here, so check it out.